Thanks. Mine's really short. It'll make you happy. The technical working group has the general charter and mission of creating an environment that will lead to implementations of what the Open Process Automation Forum defines as a solution, right? And we want to do something that will be addressed by multiple suppliers and be accepted by all end users. If we can't get to multiple suppliers and happy end users, we really have failed in our mission. The other thing that we want to do is provide the software environment and the interfaces to support portable and interoperable systems. And it's not necessarily just software. It could be hardware that we define. What we're going to define is what we're working on in the meetings. Who's working on it? Fair number of people are involved. We get participants, I don't have the latest list, but we've had calls as large as 40 people on the WebEx. More than 40 people. I mean, so there's a lot of people on the calls. Not everybody talks, which has some advantages, but also disadvantages. There's a fair amount of email follow-up, but it is a big involvement. I highlighted the people, the integrated DCS suppliers in bold and the end users in red, and everybody else is suppliers of something that will get used in this effort. So how do we work? We have a series of phone calls. We meet for about an hour and a half every week. And in that hour and a half, we review what we've done before, we make adjustments to the agenda for the day, do the normal things one does in a meeting. It takes up a surprising amount of time, actually. But what we've done is we've concentrated on the pain points that end users have identified that cause them problems. And then we've started building a map of places where, realizing we don't have an architecture defined yet, but places where we can envision that there might be standards that might help address pain points. And when we're comfortable that we have a list of standardization points, and we're comfortable that we have a list of pain points, we'll do a correlation of those and look for standards that would address pain points, look for areas where we think standards might exist that would address pain points, or pain points that being eliminated by a standard, and then identify any gaps. We would go in and take that set of intersections, prioritize it, and go out into the world and seek out standards that can address it. And if we can't find a standard for something we want, we will face the inevitable task of creating one. But our real goal is to leverage tasks and standards that are already in place. So far, so good? At the end of the day, we have to support standardization and commercialization, and that means we have to create a bunch of technical deliverables. This is a partial list. It expands. I'm a big fan of mind maps because it makes it real easy to work through conversations with lots of people and brainstorming. But this is a partial list. There's a couple in the upper right-hand corner that are in italics, and that is because I'm trying to build a list of everything that the group has to produce as documentation. I'm not necessarily that the technical working group will produce it. So they're on the list as an abstract component model and a reference architecture. It could well be that that's done by Dave's enterprise architecture group. But we also know we need specifications, otherwise known as requirements. We need functionality overviews. So somebody wants to pick up something and read about how we're dealing with cybersecurity. We need that kind of summary. We intend to have documents that are how-to implementation guides to help people with common decisions and ambiguities as they occur when people read specifications. There's always points of interpretation. We want to provide a test definition so we can ensure compliance to the specification. We need to have test implementation harnesses so that we can actually do the tests that we're talking about. We need a certification procedure. We need references to, I can't even read it anymore. My eyes are old. Oh yeah, reference implementations by industry. It came up that what we do and what's reasonable in a refining or chemical plant may not be reasonable in a food and pharmaceutical plant. And then not least, we need to have a place where we keep a repository of the terms we're using, the data structures we're using, and classify it so we have a reference that we can all go to. So that's what we're up to. We meet every week. It's an hour and a half. There's pretty good participation. We have a punch list and an approach that we're going to take. We have a definite goals that we want to achieve. And what we really need is more end user participation. There's also another gap that I've noticed, and I'll bring it up. Those of you that deal with EPCs on a regular basis, it occurred to us the other day that we don't have any EPC representation in this group. That's probably a mistake, since they buy a large portion of what we sell and, in some sense, apply it for the end users. So if you know some EPCs, talk to them about this. But I need help from end users. I'm getting pretty good support from technical parts suppliers, but I need more end users so we can understand the issues the end users face and get a bigger perspective of those. And I think we're missing a spot with the EPCs as well. I don't know what their concerns would be, but that's one of the reasons we need them there.